All right, so I've been asked to do this video by several individuals, several subscribers in the comment section, asking me to compare Fiverr International with Upwork. And of course, you've all known that I've been bullish on the gig economy. I think that this is just so much more convenient than working in person for an employer, that many individuals, more often than not, are going to choose this option when it's available to them. So I've had Fiverr stock and Upwork stock both rated as a buy for several years now. So which one do I think is the better buy? Let's take a look at that question here in this video.
I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.
All right, the first metric I'm going to compare these two on is revenue. And you can see they've both grown revenue nicely. Upwork is roughly twice the size of Fiverr at $719 million in trailing 12-month revenue, while Fiverr at $366.944 million. Now, interestingly, there was an article that came out on Yahoo Finance, I believe it was today or yesterday, talking about Dell and its relationship with its remote workers, right? So Dell told its remote employees, you have to come back to the office. If you don't come back to the office, then you are not able to get any promotions. You're barred from getting any promotions, okay? So even months after Dell implemented this policy where people lost access to promotions if they were working remotely, still half of Dell's full-time US employees and 1/3 of its international employees chose to continue working remotely, according to internal data, and Business Insider initially reported this. That just goes to highlight just how much people prefer to work from home instead of going into the office. Even though you're losing access to promotion, half of the people are choosing to work remotely. And this coincides with several informal surveys I usually do every semester at university in every class. I ask the students, how much more money would you have to get paid in order to take a job that forces you to go into the office 5 days a week versus a remote working opportunity? And the answer usually comes in around $15,000, meaning my students would prefer taking a job that pays $50,000 a year if it's remote, in favor of a job that pays $65,000 a year if it's in person. And intuitively, it makes sense, right? And the more, if you have a family, it makes even more sense. But even if you don't have a family, it just makes so much more sense. And the larger city you live in, the more it makes sense, right? In Los Angeles, if you were to commute, just downtown is about 6 miles away from me, and just commuting downtown would take me like 45 minutes. A 6-mile trip on the 101 freeway during normal working hours would take about 45 minutes. And then I'm not even counting the time it's going to take to find parking and then walk to the office or walk to my specific office, because a lot of parking nowadays for downtown employees is like 4 buildings down, because they had a deal with your company. They'll let you guys park there for $15 a day or something like that, but then you've got to walk like 3 blocks to the office. So let's say an hour going and an hour coming back every day, 5 days a week, 2 hours every day, 10 hours a week, 40 hours a month, 1 whole working week every month lost in commuting, right? So much lost productivity from working in person versus working remotely. So it just makes sense. Longer term, this is a tailwind that will benefit gig economy companies like Fiverr and Upwork. Even though I understand the rise in artificial intelligence may take away some opportunities, I feel that those opportunities would be replaced by other opportunities for those gig economy workers that are implementing artificial intelligence to offer enhanced services. So long run tailwind here, to be sure. Already, the companies are doing a great job expanding profitability. Upwork is already profitable in a trailing 12-month period, operating profit margin of 3.73%, But Fiverr is demonstrating the better trend, negative 3.3% in operating profit margin, but its increase, the trend of improvement is faster than that of Fiverr. Now, cash flow from operations, Fiverr has the better trend and nearly 5x the cash flow from operations to Upwork at 24.77% compared to Upwork at 5.78%. I'll note that Fiverr is more aggressive in its pricing policy. The take rate is over 30% at Fiverr. So if you get hired for a job with, and you get paid $100, you'll only keep like 70 if you're working on Fiverr versus Upwork. I think you'll get to keep 80 at Upwork, or a little bit more than 80. So Fiverr is more aggressive on pricing, and that's showing up in the company's profitability, but it's also showing up in the slower growth than Upwork. So pros and cons of that strategy showing up in these companies' performance. Now, looking at the balance sheet, they're very similar. Fiverr has $488 million in cash and $455 million in long-term debt. Upwork has $490 million in cash and $356 million in long-term debt. So Upwork has the slightly better balance sheet compared to Fiverr, but they're both very, very similar in this regard. Finally, let's look at their valuation. Fiverr is trading at a forward price to earnings of 8.748, and Upwork is trading at a forward price to earnings of 9.364. These two companies are trading at similar valuations to companies like AT&T and Verizon, which are, zero growth companies in an industry that's mature with no growth prospects. Meanwhile, Fiverr and Upwork have excellent growth prospects. The industry will capture this tailwind from the increasing convenience of remote work. And I haven't even talked about the increasing convenience of contract work versus full-time employment. Now, there are pros and cons to this, and I think on the employer side, it's more convenient. If you're looking to hire folks, it's usually more convenient to start off hiring contract work for, maybe one project or 5 projects or 10 projects, and doing that for a while before you can feel confident that you do need to bring on somebody full time, right? It lets you bridge into that hire instead of hiring somebody and then having to let them go when you realize, oh, maybe we did this too early, or maybe we hired too many people too quickly. So it bridges that gap. It's a nice way to step into expanding employment for businesses. For workers, there's a give and take. For some workers, it might not be right for them, right? Some workers like that security of having employment at a company, one company, showing up to the same company every day. Some people might prefer that. For others, contract work offers more flexibility. You develop different relationships with different companies, and thereby you diversify your risk by being employed with several different people, having several different opportunities available, and taking whichever opportunity suits you best at that moment. It allows variability and a little bit of difference in your work. It's not mundane, same thing every day. It depends on your preference, right? So it offers that. It's not a clear-cut advantage for workers. It could be, it's more of a give and take. But for the employer side, it's clearly an advantage to have that option. So two and a half large secular tailwinds working in both Fiverr and Upwork's favor. So which one is the better one? If I had to pick today, I like Fiverr's cash flow from operations advantage, nearly 5 times that of Upwork at 24.77 over 5.78. And the fact that it's trading at a lower valuation really is the icing on the cake. So if I had to pick between these two, I would pick Fiverr, but I have both of them rated as a buy. But if you had me pick just one, I would pick Fiverr. Before I let you go, let me tell you about the greatest deal on YouTube. With just a click of a button, you can get free financial analysis from a professor with decades of investing experience. So what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you again soon.